This is a 1995 R33 Nissan Skyline GTR, and today we are going to be taking a look at all the quirks and features of this legendary Japanese icon. This car was donated by Skyline Dude 951. Make sure you go check out his YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. I'm sure he really appreciates that. So today we are going to be going over all the quirks and features of this legendary Japanese icon, and then we are going to take it on the road and see how she drives. I'm also probably going to talk very slow, so this video hopefully is about 25 to 30 minutes. Now obviously the Nissan Skyline has a very legendary name behind it, and that is for no reason besides, well, it is a legendary Japanese sports car. Now here, the R33 GTR has just been recently legal to bring into the States, so that is why we are going to be checking out its quirks and features today. Now that my terrible Doug Demuro impression is over with, we are going to take a look at this car. There's not too many quirks and features when it comes to this car, but there is some, and that is what we're going to go over right now. So this was a requested video from you guys, but before we get on with the video, do make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. Let's do this. So we're going to be starting at the front end here of the GTR. Now, there's not too much going on up in front. Everything is pretty basic. However, there is one kind of cool thing about this, and that is these air ducts right here. From the front of the bumper, it really doesn't look like anything special, but if you do take a closer look, you can actually, from underneath anyway, you can actually see that these are actually air intakes for the brakes. Now, even when I bought this car, I didn't even know that. I just thought they were vents in the bumper, but they actually have ducts underneath that cool the Brembo brakes on all R33 GTRs. Now this particular car does not have the N1 ducts that some of the GTRs come with. This just has the standard R33 bumper with the GTR badge up front here. It does come stock with a front mount intercooler. I've had a couple people ask me that, but yes, they do come stock with front mount intercoolers. Now moving along to the side of the car, there isn't too much going on here. All Skylines do have these GT badges on the bottom, as well as the turn signal indicators on the side. Something little you may not have noticed, but it does have one on each side, as well as those Yeah, it has brakes. Now back here at the rear of the car, everything is pretty standard. You do have your iconic taillights here. I love the taillights on the R33, but the one thing I want to point out is the spoiler. The spoiler has these little covers. I don't know if you guys can see that here on each side. Now, you can actually remove these covers and adjust the wing up or down depending on what you want aerodynamically, which is pretty cool, and that's pretty cool technology for 1995, being able to adjust your wing like that. Now, in the trunk, we do have, it's pretty basic. It's pretty basic in here. Actually, what you can notice is there is no key. In fact, you have to flip the Nissan emblem up to get to the trunk key. You know, it's kind of like a secret passage. You know, that's pretty cool, I guess. We'll fold that back down. If we open up the trunk here, you can see, let me bring you guys a little bit closer here. It does have not only a strut bar in back, but underneath is where actually the battery and some electronics are stored. So if you're ever looking for the battery in an R33 GTR, it is located in the trunk. So unfortunately, as good as the battery being located in the rear is for weight distribution, it also means that the trunk on the R33 is surprisingly small for how big the car actually is. Now, in addition to everything else back here, this car does have rear wheel steering. It took me a couple tries to say that because it is a little bit of a tongue twister, but it does mean that the wheels do slightly turn when you're cornering, also known as Hikis. Now, the Hikis stuff under here, I don't even know if you guys can really see it. There's a little bit of it. So all that stuff underneath here all has to do with the Hikis or rear wheel steering system. So that was a pretty advanced thing for the time. The R32 GTR did have it as well, but it is a more advanced system in this car, so they improved upon that in that regard. Now, on the interior of the R33, it is pretty basic in here. Honestly, there's not a ton of, I would say, quirks and features going on the inside. The inside is very 90s Nissan. Now I will say the interior is quite a bit of an upgrade from the R32 Skyline, The R32 felt very maybe 80s or very early 90s, where this feels like this could be maybe a 2000 interior and it would still kind of, you know, be okay. So there's not too much in here, but there is a few things. So as you can see, the interior here, we do have a basic aftermarket radio. We have our AC controls, which are digital, so that's kind of cool. And we also have our 3 gauges. We have a boost, we have the oil temperature, as well as a front torque gauge, which is pretty cool. That basically only moves when the rear wheels are slipping, and it sends power to the front wheels. There is very little storage in this car. You don't get any, you do get electric locks as well as, or electric, I guess you would say power locks, as well as windows and mirrors, which actually my R32 had, which was pretty advanced for the time. There is no button. You only get a cool key, but hey, it does say GTR on it, so that's pretty cool. Besides that, there's not a ton of storage in here. The glove box is fairly small. You got a little pocket in the door here for some stuff, kind of useless. And then over here in the center armrest, you have, ooh, money. You have a very shallow, barely fits my sunglasses kind of armrest here, probably because of the all-wheel drive. And unfortunately, oh god, you guys who are fans of the channel, you know what I'm gonna say next. I'm not even gonna say it. You know, I gotta say it. There's no cup holder, guys. None. So getting out, a lot of people ask one weird thing about this car, and that's how big the back seat is. I don't know why, but I've had dozens of people ask me that. And honestly, it's bigger than an R35 back seat, and that is something we have found out. I'm going to demonstrate this for you by sitting in the back seat and showing you.
12 seconds later.
For the back seat, you just hit this lever right here. That'll fold up. Don't mind that. So we get in the back, push it all the way back, and yeah. There is tons of room back here. Like, I am very comfortable back here. This is my seating position that I would sit in front comfortably. You can see how much space there is there. And look at my knees. I mean, there is like 6 inches at least. And I'm obviously a shorter guy, but still, check out this headroom. I mean, there's at least 3 or 4 inches. Now I'm a shorter guy, but you gotta remember, we're in a coupe. There's tons of room in the back seat of this car. It actually makes it pretty usable on a day-to-day basis. So, in the R34 GTR, now, many people are probably wondering, does it feel like a boat? That's the first question, right? As always, does it feel like a boat? And that is, no, it does not. It definitely feels like a bigger car compared to the R32, but I tell people this over and over again, this car actually handles very well, considering the added weight and everything else, but there's such a big chassis improvement on the car that it just handles like it's on rails. And you add in some little aftermarket like coilovers and stuff like that, and it just improves upon the driving experience of the car. I will say that this car does drive more of like a Grand Tourer versus like it doesn't feel like a small little race car like you're driving like a, I don't know, like a 240 or a Miata. Or, you know, obviously it's a much bigger car than that, has a much longer wheelbase than that. But the driving experience is still something that you don't get from modern cars. You know, there's like no traction control. You know, the steering weight is very good. The braking is very good from those Brembo brakes. No body roll, like I said, whatsoever. And the noise that these cars make is honestly probably one of the biggest draws to them. You know, the blow-off valve sound, the engine sound. You know, there's nothing quite like that inline 6, except for maybe a Toyota Supra, of course. But RVs have their own unique sound, which definitely adds, like I said, overall to the driving experience. Now this particular car has a stock clutch and stock everything, so it's not a very hard car to drive. It's pretty easy. There's not a lot of blind spots. You have quite a good visibility even out the back, despite you do see a lot of wing. But besides that, you do have a lot of visibility, you know, kind of all the way around the car. There's not too big of a blind spot once you get used to driving right-hand drive. So there you have it, guys, the quirks and features of the Nissan Skyline R33 GTR. Admittedly, honestly, there's not that many kind of weird things with this car. Everything is kind of fairly basic on this car, but that's okay. That doesn't take anything away from the car. It is still an amazing car, and it honestly handles much better than people think, even though this has a nickname basically of a boat compared to the R32. Don't let that fool you guys. This is an amazing car. It handles amazing. The acceleration for the time was really good, and even by today's standards is still not that bad. You do have the 276 horsepower, which is more about 320 in reality, which means it's still quick by today's standards, but it is no means a rocket. So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from this. If you are in the market to purchase an R33 GTR, now that they are stateside legal, I hope I helped you a little bit. This was a requested video, so I figured I would throw it together for you guys, even though there's not too much crazy stuff going on with this car. If you guys are new, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate that. Give this video a thumbs up, and as usual, we'll catch you all on the next video. Peace!